Hey, what's up, everyone? You're back with me, Ian Kane. A huge welcome to this week's installment of DappRadar Meets. My apologies for the music there a little bit. I'm kind of missing my UK voices, so I needed to kind of fill that gap for a moment there. Today, the date is Tuesday, May the 10th. Huge hello to all you wonderful listeners, and thanks for tuning in for another episode. It's really cool to be here after last week's show was cancelled. So yeah, our apologies on that. Trader Joe had to put out some fires over at their end last week, so we had to cancel the show. But don't worry, we'll lock that one in for later in the year. As always, we record these sessions for people to catch up. If you missed any of the previous shows, you can get them all on YouTube. Plus, we've launched a couple of other podcast style shows over on YouTube, so go and check it out. There's lots of content coming through the DappRadar YouTube right now, loads of educational help and analytical videos. So if you don't already know, DappRadar is the world's leader in DApp analytics and discovery. We track thousands of dApps across more than 30 blockchains, and our portfolio manager product lets you manage your crypto and NFT assets in one place. We're also super proud to be the official data provider for media outlets like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, and then in the other side of the world for Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, and more. The one very cool feature that I want to highlight again of the portfolio tracker. If you're like me and you're spread out across different blockchains and different networks and you've got tokens in different places, sometimes you can forget what you're doing. I know that sounds luxurious, but it can happen. So by inputting your wallet address into the DappRadar portfolio tracker, shazam, there's all your tokens across Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance. It's pretty cool, and you can find some positions in there that you might have forgotten about. So, enough about that. On to today. And today I'm super excited to welcome the COO of Fables of Fyra, Dino, to the stage to talk about their latest play-to-earn project on Vulcan Forged. So I want to do a quick sound check. Do we have you there, Dino?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome, there you are. Also, dude, I just want to do a quick check to make sure I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Fables of Fyra or Fire?
It's Fables of Fyra. So, yeah, we've had some debate on it, but it definitely is Fyra.
Oh, man. It's not even the correct spelling of fire, right? It's just like the kind of, what's it? Slang spelling of fire. So, cool. Got that straight. All right, Dino, listen, I just need to run through some bits of admin, and then we'll jump straight back in a couple of minutes, all right? So bear with me. Mm-hmm. What's been going on in the world of dApps and blockchain this week? I'm guessing most of you will know the biggest thing to happen this week is obviously the dip in prices. A lot of this has occurred after last week's announcement about an interest rate rise by the Fed up to 0.5%. Both BTC and ETH are now down by more than 50% since November highs, although looking on the positive side, both are still double the value they were back in January 2018, when the last major dip occurred. So what we're doing over here at DappRadar is we're putting together a step-by-step guide to surviving the bear market. And no, that doesn't mean going into a cave and staying there for a few years. There are things you can do, and that's what we're going to outline in this guide. So hold tight, it's on the way. The other major story this week involves stablecoins, specifically Terra's UST dollar-pegged stablecoin. News broke on the weekend that it had lost its peg, dropping down to 0.98 cents, which doesn't sound like much of a deviation, but just a small 0.2 deviation away can cause massive problems. It's also led Luna dropping from $85 to $29 in the last 6 days, and the team over at Terra is in full combat mode. Just released 3.5 billion in Bitcoin to try and back it and fix it. Will it help? Time will tell. We will see, and we'll continue to track the story. BAYC, Other Side Lands, obviously took over the top 10 NFT sales this week. 9 of the top 10 were Other Side Lands. One land plot changed hands for 333 ETH. It's nearly $1 million on the day of sale. However, today we're finding land plots in Other Side for closer to the floor price, which is pretty cool. So it seems that there's some opportunities out there if you missed out or if you KYC'd and you didn't get one. Today's the day. Loads more happening over on the DappRadar blog. It's only Wednesday, and I'm sure some other significant issues will occur before the end of the week. So now to the main event. And as the regular listeners know, every week I sit down with brightest minds, blockchains, dApps, games, NFT collections, and we talk to them so we can dig in and see what they're all about. And most importantly, we put a human face on a project and give you, the audience, a chance to fire all those tricky questions. So just put your hand up and we'll invite you on the stage. Alternatively, fire your question into our main chat on Discord, and Cornelia will do her best to get that over to me so we can ask it in time. I always say no such thing as a stupid question unless you ask it 5 times. So keep your ears open, guys and girls. Make sure not to repeat questions. Also, today, the Fables team, they're giving away an NFT for people who ask questions. Again, I'm a little unsure on the pronunciation here. I'll check in a minute, but I think it's Zork is a Gen 1 NFT Dragon, which makes her super rare. There's only 999 editions, so one of them will find its way into the hands of somebody that asks a question today. So before we dive right in, I just want to get everyone on the same page with Fables of I've misspelled it here. Fyra. Fables of Fyra is a complete ecosystem and home to dragons and many other unique characters developed specifically for the ecosystem. Adventures and opportunities await players to learn, build, farm, craft, quest, explore, and earn. The universe has a player-owned economy where individuals can truly own, buy, sell, and trade resources they receive in the game. All right, Dino, we're back. Let's jump into what I call the elevator pitch. Basically, my man, you are trapped with me in an elevator for about a minute, and I've got a t-shirt on that says I am loaded. I've got loads of money and I'm looking to invest. You got 1 minute to tell me why I should be excited about Fables and why I should be paying attention. No pressure. Off you go.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ian. Yeah, so Fables of Fyra, The Awakening, this is one of those really unique opportunities to invest into or join early into a play-to-earn game that actually has a product. So our game is ready to release. We've taken our previous successes from Dragon Garden and other games that we've developed and really rolled it into developing a one-of-a-kind ecosystem in which we've developed a very enjoyable game to play and to earn. So this isn't your standard grinding game where you're going to be doing the same repetitive tasks over and over. It has very deep lore. It has a roadmap of roughly 5 years worth of content that's being added onto the ecosystem, and the economy is developed and built to address a lot of the concerns that we've seen with other play to earn economies. So we have various methods to control the amount of supply going in, and there are plenty of use cases for both the premium token BA and the in-game currency, which is our cave token. So this and furthermore, our game Fables of Fyra: The Awakening is really addressing an underserved market in regards to play to earn economies, play to earn games that aren't filled with blood and gore, that are enjoyable to come and play. So just as we've seen with the overall working economy, and what COVID taught us was that people want to go and do things. They want a career that is enjoyable, that isn't stressful, that isn't going to lead to burnout. And so what we've developed in Fables of Fyra is an economy, a way to earn not only for the scholars, but for the guilds and the casual players that is enjoyable, that people will want to come into and want to play and will want to continue to grow their NFTs and their holdings within the ecosystem. And then furthermore, everything that we're doing now, which is commonly used, those funds that are raised from the initial land sales, from the initial token sales that are used to develop the game, those are going to be used to really polish, expand, and build an ecosystem that is ever evolving. So when our early adopters come into the Fables of Fyra ecosystem, they're not only getting a game today, but they're buying into a future that is very foreseeable, that we can build true line of sight to multiple games built on the ecosystem, multiple quests, multiple ways for our players to earn and utilize the tokens within the ecosystem. So we're really, really excited because I think it's something that not a lot of projects are offering the community, and we're there. And we've got some very, very exciting events coming up in the next month and a half that will lead to the full launch of the ecosystem in the beginning of Q4. And like I said, we're ready to go full blast, and so we're super excited, and I think that as everyone gains awareness of the project and sees it, we're starting to see some tremendous momentum and steam being built and getting ready to do our next land sale. So there's definitely a call to action there, and people that are interested in the project can get involved right away.
All right, cool. Very, I feel like you planned this already, Dino. You knew I was going to ask this question. Very good answer. Some key words there that really stuck out. Just want to touch on those. So you've got a 5-year roadmap. It's pretty impressive. In-game economy, which is fully functional and is based around ideas of seeing other failures in the past. Got a playable game. You're trying to address concerns already in the market. No blood and gore, which is pretty cool, I think. And then the keyword, enjoyable, non-grindy. So these are words I like. I'm in. Let's talk more. Could have cut you off there, Dino. How would you feel about that? So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Let's go back a bit because we've got a big overarching vision of the game. Let's just backtrack slightly. Can you tell us about yourself a little bit and how you ended up in this crazy blockchain world? Are you from gaming background, or are you from like a trading background? What's your story, man?
So actually, I've done a little bit of everything. I was ex-military when I was younger, and then came into was lucky enough to come in on the ground floor of a manufacturing company that did highly technical custom design solutions for power quality and conditioning. So my background is really in real life operations, growing and scaling businesses, and then dealing with the constraints that small businesses face as they grow and expand their brand and their operations. So I've overseen operations in the United States, China, Mexico, India. You name it, I've been there, and have also taken smaller businesses, these highly technical businesses with very, very specialized engineering teams, very, very specialized dev teams, and figured out ways or had to in the past deliver products to market quickly and efficiently to ensure that we weren't burning constraints. Because unlike a lot of VC backed or multinational corporations, you have constraints that limit your ability to kind of take time, make mistakes, and slow play your release into the market. And so when I exited that business last year, I was kind of looking at what I wanted to do next. I knew I didn't really want to go into that VC PE world, and really wanted to get back to the core, which was growing and expanding businesses that have a product that people really believe in. And Oversized Hat, the CEO of Invisible Ghost Studios, and really the founder of Fables of Fyra, really had a vision, a product, and an idea of where he wanted to head, and it really was something that I was able to buy into. And since I've been on board, he's really built a team around us that are experts in this field that have really allowed us to continue to deliver on our promises and really accelerate our release into market. So really, really excited about what we're doing, and really have a lot of belief on kind of where we're going. And so like I said, it's an exciting time.
Super cool. Like, just to hear that your background is in taking product to market. Now, for me, I look through a lot, I research a lot of projects, I look into them quite deeply a lot of the time, and you do find with some that they have all the right people in place apart from the person to take it to market, which I find to be something that's overlooked sometimes in a world full of technical brains, and they're all, you can create the coolest product. If no one's using it and nobody knows about it, then it's useless, right? So it's very positive to me what you're saying, that your special focus here is not in blockchain tech or stacks or building. It's actually in making people understand very technical projects and products on a human level, right? Which is something that this industry needs, I think.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest concerns that I have with this industry in general is that, I'm old enough. I actually did my MBA, coming right out of the dot-com bust and the Great Recession of 2008 and all those things there. And, you saw a lot of companies that were selling dreams, that were selling roadmaps, but not really selling an actual product or something that was proven to service a need within the marketplace. And that's what really attracted me to Fables of Fyra and this overall franchise, was that not only have we a full functioning product and a playable game and a roadmap to a fully developed economy, but we're also servicing a niche in the market that I think is just wildly underserved. I mean, you can go around and play card games or or third party shooters, and you can do all these things, right? But there's nothing there that is like that questing, that Zelda-ish type, adventure where you can really dive into the lore. I mean, we've got a lore writer that's built out stories and built out quests that, like I said, we can go for 5 years of continuously releasing quests and adventures and further depth to our overall backstory that will keep players engaged as we continue to grow.
Crazy, like it's super important as well. And I just want to just check this. You've launched on Vulcan Forged, right? And you're talking about the lore of the game, and I think it fits really well with Vulcan Forged. We had a chat with them a few weeks ago, and we spoke about the name and its how it's tied to mythology and things like that. So it all sounds like it fits quite well. But what was your kind of in terms of choosing Vulcan Forged as a network? Is it an official DApp of Vulcan Forged, or did they just help you guys, or what's the story there?
Yeah, no, it's a Vulcan Forge DApp, and we've been with the Vulcan Forge community since the beginning. The franchise originally started off as Coddle Ranch, and Dragon Garden, right? So Coddle Pets and Dragon Garden was the original mini game where you could start with a free dragon, graduate it up to an NFT dragon by playing these mini games, and what our CEO had really seen was this just adoption of these dragons, the ability for people to really want to connect with those dragons, grow them, raise them up, and when we kind of made that transition to the next step in the evolution of the franchise, it was a full ecosystem that we wanted to develop, and we had this great community within the Vulcan Forge group, and the philosophers and all the players and everyone there, as well as the support of Jamie, the CEO, and his entire team. And like I said, we're a very loyal, very ethical group of developers and businessmen. And our biggest thing was that we wanted to continue to give back to the community that had fostered our original growth and really helped us develop. And so, yeah, we're fully committed to the Vulcan Forge ecosystem, or Vulcan Forge, launchpad. We're excited about what they're doing with Elysium on their blockchain and some of the other stuff. So, we think it's really a great group to be associated with, and we're really, really excited about our partnership and continuing to expand that partnership with the Vulcan Forge.
Nice, man. Yeah, well, it seems like a really good fit. And speaking with Jamie and now speaking with yourself, yeah, I can see that even further now. So yeah, nice. Okay, what about the founding team? So we spoke about yourself, Dino, and the kind of team behind the game. What's their vision? Are they people with long-standing histories in games, or who are these guys?
Oh yeah, so Oversized, so Oversized had our CEO has put together a great team of industry experts. Heidi, who runs our marketing, she's came from working with PlayStation, working with some of these really long-standing great franchises within that space and this genre, and so she's brings so much expertise and benefit to the group, and has really helped us develop awareness. And then our dev team, working with Mobsoft and Bjorn and some of those guys over there, they have just done such a wonderful job of creating not only a game that's fun, enjoyable, and visually or aesthetically pleasing, but also balancing the fact that these are games that are going to be played overseas. These are games that are going to be played in like a play to earn environment. And so really optimizing the download size, optimizing the polygon, so that way it is playable and you don't have to invest in a tremendous amount of infrastructure in order to play and earn. So they've really taken what I think is somewhat always looked at as like an aesthetic, or like a, how cool does the game look? How fun are the graphics, right? And also taken and added that engineering science background to it to ensure that the tech is deliverable to all platforms, and really is playable around the world. So, that dev team, they come from a strong background of developing games in the past, and they've just done a wonderful job. And then we've surrounded ourselves with advisors that I feel are best in class. From Nonce Blocks to, that's helping us with our smart contracts and doing our third party auditing to, Armanino, which is a tremendous like blockchain tech-based accounting firm in the United States that'll help us provide transparency into our tokens and our tokenomics with real-time, visibility of the circulation and where tokens are going and where they're being applied. To some of the more technical groups that we're looking at and adding that are really going to help us ensure that the economy is not only robust and sustainable, but allow it to grow as our users and the people that come into the ecosystem grow as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. It's always nice to see and hear about the team behind the projects and where their experiences lie and what their focuses are. So very cool. We'll jump into the tokenomics. Sorry, go on.
Before we go on, also I have to. Our hats are off. My hat is off to our lore writer as well, Ryan. I gotta throw him some props because he has created such an engaging and just enjoyable lore for people to dive into. So if you're a grinder, you can grind, but if you also like questing and lore and backstory and like to kind of immerse yourself into that, we've got a real treat for you in the Fables of Fyra.
Very cool. Did you hear that, Ryan? If you're listening, it's time for a pay rise, my man. You've just had an endorsement. All right. So, okay, cool. So the team have worked on some games in the past, and you mentioned some games. Can we talk about those kind of first projects and what you learned from those experiences regarding like the players, their habits, what they do? Did they do what you expected them to do? How was it? Ups, downs, lefts, rights?
Well, I think everyone that's in here that's familiar with the space would attest that whenever you think you know what the player is going to do, just toss that out the window because behaviors of players within the ecosystem are definitely unique and unpredictable. But no, we've learned so much throughout the entire, as we've developed the original game, Dragon Garden. We really figured out the mistakes, a lot of it has to do with just transparency, right? In the beginning when you start releasing these games, and like I said, Dragon Dragon Garden was the first release on the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, and while Oversized Hat was transparent, there were so many questions and so much that people wanted to know regarding how to play or where the benefit and utility was going to go, and there was so many gray areas that were just kind of out there. And so what we found going into the white paper and developing the light paper for Fables of Fyra was really all of the angles that you have to approach. You really have to look at your game not only from a play to earn side, which everyone really focuses on, but also like how enjoyable is the game to play. And then when you dive into the ecosystem, is looking at it from all aspects, all users of that ecosystem. That casual user that just wants to play and enjoy the game, but is still going to have a critical role in the overall economy. Looking at the investors, right? That the guild managers, the people that really want to expand the amount of players underneath their umbrella, right? How do you give them avenues to invest their funds in so they can see their return on investment, as well as making it structured so that way they can go out and play the game and attract scholars to their property, right? Or to their land plots. And then also looking from the scholar side, right? Those individuals, I've had interviews with some of these scholars, in these other ecosystems, and I'm really impressed at how it is that kind of that true dream of starting from the bottom and then building your way up. A lot of these guys started playing for other guilds or playing on their own and just kind of scraping by so that way they can start buying NFTs and plots and renting them out. And that providing that channel, which I think we've done within the ecosystem of Fables of Fyra, has been one of the largest focuses that we've had, is really how do we look at all of this and address all of the needs of all of the different users within the ecosystem.
Got it. It's a very complex job, right? It's not an easy thing to do. And it takes time as well, which I think is important to note as well, that these things can't happen overnight. I think the crypto space moves super quick, and people expect results within 2 minutes. But yeah, I think it's important to note that it does take time as well. But in terms of the kind of play to earn space, the whole industry, as it were, what are your impressions of what's been happening over the last kind of 12 months? I read somewhere, market analysts and expecting the play to earn gaming space to increase 100x in the coming years. What's your market analysis? What do you think, Dino?
Well, I think that the growth and the trajectory of this space is, I mean, it's absolutely massive, right? Where this can really go, and just the overall gaming space is just so huge and attracts so many different demographics. I mean, you can know, someone in their 60s that loves the game, and you can know someone that's just coming up that's in their teens that loves the game, and so it really is cross generational and cross demographics, right? And especially as technology evolves, as the metaverse evolves, as these as crypto evolves, right? And it just becomes these blockchains and these ability to transfer, funds from one side to the other and allow people to really monetize their efforts in game expands. I mean, I just don't see this slowing down anytime soon. And it's creating a whole nother economy, a whole nother way for people to earn that I think is more attractive and enjoyable than your more traditional paths to earn in some of these developing areas, right? I mean, would you rather go work in a factory, 12 hours a day making minimum wage, or can you monetize your ability to use your brain and game and win in contests against other players? I mean, I think that's a no-brainer decision for some of these people that are up and coming or going through college or kind of hitting of age in like the Philippines and some of these other areas where these guilds and play to earn games are extremely popular. I think also that overall market, right? This play to earn market. I mean, I think we've seen people ecosystems and environments and Vulcan for them that are sustainable, that are starting to really develop them. People are in operating with it. I was really big or I was involved in that huge globalization process in manufacturing.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, people will rush to put things everywhere, right? If something shows success in one avenue, they'll try to apply it across every single avenue. And there's a lot of failures that happen in that process because you need to shake out and find out where this tool is a wrench that's used for a job with a wrench rather than using a wrench when you really need a hammer, right? And I think that's what we're seeing in this market, and it's going to shake out, and it's going to be the people that are dynamic, that are aware of the changes in trends and the changes in technology and the changes of, or understanding where the right tools are being used and how to apply them. And I think that's what our group and what the Fables of Fyra team is really working to do is kind of stay on that cutting edge and develop an ecosystem and economy that's going to be sustainable as we continue to grow.
Nice. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more about the problems with sustainability. I hesitate to use the sentence like cash grab, but it is something that we've seen, and it comes with new technology, right? When you get a wave of new tech, you get a wave of opportunists as well. So, but I think more importantly, what you said that's really important is the fact that I believe this thoroughly, that good things will always get found. And when you look, for example, on DappRadar top 10 games, you're going to see games that have been in existence for years. They're not, they didn't just pop up, become massively successful, and then remain and retain their users. They put the work in over the last few years, quite a lot, like Splinterlands, I think is 4 years, for example. So another thing that people should be aware of is that a lot of these projects that are hyping, they've been hyping for years, and they're just doing an amazing job of keeping it all together. And dealing with the community, I think, Dino, that's the main one, right? You've got to keep people happy, and it's got to be sustainable. Otherwise, what's the point? You can make a few people rich and a lot of people unhappy otherwise, right?
Absolutely.
Then I want to jump into the tokenomics in a second, but before we do that, I've got a couple of questions from the audience. So we'll do those, and then we will jump over to some tokenomics.
Perfect.
1 second. All right, I'm going to read this out straight off the bat. Let me just see it properly. Okay. Glad to see. This question is from a user called Checkpoint. I'm glad to see a new game. I've been involved in many NFT projects and that I've seen people can't even follow the announcements properly. Ups and downs of the crypto world and the dependence on crypto in their NFTs are already tiring people mentally. And the number of people who own NFTs is generally low compared to expected. For example, this is something like playing a game designed for a minimum of 300 people by 60 people. Considering all these factors, how can you follow a strategy? I see what he's saying. He's like, some projects are launching to be minimalist and quick. How can you mitigate these factors? How can you create a tangible strategy, I guess, Dino, is the question.
Well, I think, and I think this is a great question because what you need to do, or what we've kind of rested our or placed our attention at, is developing a strategy that is dynamic, that is scalable up, but also scalable for retrenchment, right? Because there is always going to be these waves. Business is just cyclical, no matter if you're in blockchain gaming, if you're in DeFi, or if you're in the standard smokestack, businesses. You're always going to see waves and retrenchment and growth. And so what we've done is really worked on developing levers within the ecosystem, and then within the economy, that allow us to really right size the economy, the creation of tokens, the distribution of tokens, through the play to earn side, when we grow quickly and when we have to retrench. And then we've also made it so that way players that wouldn't normally be able to get into the space because they don't have the initial funds to purchase the upfront NFTs can play and participate in the economy by crafting items, developing high skill level items that they can then turn to NFTs and then sell into the guilds or the various marketplaces and players that need those items. So we've really tried to make it so that way it can be all inclusive, so that way we can serve that group that doesn't normally get served in the play to earn economy, as well as having a strategy that really right sizes the amount of tokens that are created. So that way you don't have an economy that's built for 300 servicing 60, and like you said, you get a bunch of people rich and a bunch of people get hurt on the backside of it, because when there's winners there's always losers, right? So I think that we've developed that economy and those levers and funnels that really allow us to be dynamic with our strategy and ensure we can pivot when necessary.
Yeah, and I think you've also had the luxury of being able to watch the space evolve over the last 12 to kind of 18 months as well, and learn from others' mistakes, which is very powerful. And as long as you actually take on board the guidance you get from that, it can be extremely powerful. So yeah, I agree with you. That's a really good question. It could open up another whole bunch of questions, but yeah, hang on 1 sec. I've got another one here. Is there a way of sourcing extra Junie leaves for breeding other than a marketplace purchase? So we're getting into the specifics of the game now.
Yeah, so there's going to be ways to find items. Like I said, you're going to be able to buy items on the marketplace. We're going to have minting events where some of these NFTs, some of these items will get released into the ecosystem or into the marketplaces and sold, or in games bought from the Cave Dragon. So there's going to be a lot of options to really buy NFTs that either enhance your earning potential or enhance your ability to achieve certain tasks within the game, right? So in-game efficiency items and whatnot.
Right. Okay, cool. And then this question is kind of similar, and we have touched on it, but I think it's definitely worth answering as well. This question is from D. Arvis. Fables of Fyra franchise has Dragon Garden and the Awakening games right now. Awakening is said to be the flagship for many games to come. How will current and future games interact with each other? Will NFTs for one game be usable in another, or will they be connected only by the lore?
That's a really, really great question.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
not only will the future games be connected via lore, but they'll be connected via the in-game economy. For example, we have an announcement that we're getting ready for Vulcan 2.0 that will rely on Cave, that main lifeblood currency within the game, as well as Ba, which is our overall governance token. And then the NFTs that you own, just like in Dragon Garden, where you can grow and take a NFT dragon to a certain level, and then you can bring them into the Awakening. We plan on our NFTs going across the franchise and into the different games, especially with the dragons. Because those dragons are really the centerpiece of our overall community, of our overall lore, and they're going to have utility across the board.
Okay, cool. Good questions, guys. Good questions. Keep them coming. Okay, let's jump into the all-important tokenomics of the project. So it's a play-to-earn game, which means it's super important. So we'll go through each one in kind of sequence. Now, you've touched on some of them, but let's start from the beginning. The bar token, which you mentioned, is the governance token. So let's start there. What's the function? What's the purpose?
So I really like it. So we run a 2 token system, right? And so Ian, I know this is kind of digressing a little bit, but we'll kind of walk through this so that way everyone.
I like digression.
Okay, sounds good. I'm a digressor, so we're good then. So where Ba is like that premium token, and then the Cave is that like in-game earning token. If you're familiar with the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, it's akin to like your Pyre and your Lava, PYR and Lava. I mean, I know there's debates on how to say Pyre, but
we had that debate actually on the other show.
But the great thing is that Ba will be cross-franchise, right? And it'll have long-standing utility. So you'll have uses for it not only in the Awakening, but also the other games we develop. And then as we go outside of the Fables of Fyra ecosystem, because our plan, our long-term plan is to develop other ecosystems similar to Fables of Fyra, and the Ba token will go across all of those. Furthermore, the Ba token will be used for staking in your land. So as you upgrade your land, you'll be able to stake there. And then there'll also be specific benefits for holding Ba associated with holding NFTs as well. So certain levels of Ba and certain NFT holdings will give you certain rewards and certain roles within the ecosystem, as well as giving you access to the Ba rewards pool. So like right now we're doing the gold and silver gold and silver key land, or the silver key land sale. And we already did the gold land sale. Those will have access to the Ba monthly rewards pool. And so you'll see that's like that really premium high level currency that will be on the dexes and will be traded. And it'll really have a lot of value, not only within Fables of Fyra, but across the entire franchise and other games within the ecosystem as well.
Okay, so lots of utility, lots of uses, and then expanding utility across the franchise to come at later point. And that's important to mention because that will give it trading volume, that will give it also, and as I say, utility, which can affect price. Either way. Let's not go down that rabbit hole for now, though, Dino. So we've got the Cave token. What's that?
Now, Cave, this is your in-game play-to-earn currency. So this is the currency that is really the lifeblood of the overall economy within the Fables of Fyra, the Awakening. So it'll be used for everything from in-game purchases to paying your minting fees. So you develop a high-level item within the game and you want to mint it. That's what you'll pay your minting fee with Cave. It'll also facilitate the proof of play functionality, and so that's what you'll be rewarded in every day for playing. So if you think of some of these other franchises, this is your SLP, this is your Lava, this is some of those that you earn every day that gets kind of distributed. And then, like I said, that will be so as you mine your shares, that's kind of really what you'll use every day within the game, and you'll earn those shares and mine those shares by performing tasks within the game, completing quests, scavenging, unlocking new locations. We'll use caves. So there's a lot of really strong in-game utility, and I think we've developed some really great funnels and drains for this currency, as well as burn mechanisms that will ensure that it holds its value as the game continues to expand.
Nice. And you don't want it to go too. There's an issue where the price becomes too high as well, right? Where you've got transactional issues and things like that, so it needs to be tightly controlled. Okay, so cave token is like the functional daily token,
Yep.
and I presume that if, for example, I'm playing and I rack up, let's be exciting. Let's put I've got 1 million cave tokens in my wallet.
Mhm.
Is there an internal function within the platform to then swap over to bar, or to kind of take those tokens? How does that work? Like, can I exchange
We'll
for
be
bar?
Yeah, there'll be some exchange mechanisms in there for like gold, which is our like soft currency within the game, and then we'll use our dexes and the different exchanges to do the transitions from cave into bar into other currencies.
That'll be built in. I take it. Yep.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of functionality there, but it'll primarily be done through the dexes right now. Like at the initial launch, primarily through like we'll be on the Vulcan Forge dex and whatnot.
Got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've done bar, we've done cave, and then I guess after that we're into the assets. So the kind of biggest asset to talk about, and I know you've got an announcement about this, but let's keep it till the end, Dino. NFT land. Let's
Yep.
talk about NFT land a little bit.
Yeah, so the NFT land is a little bit different than what people are normally used to in regards to like land and land plots. So when you buy NFT land in the Fables of Fyra, you're not just buying a plot within the kingdom. You're actually getting your own kingdom that you can completely customize and develop on. And the decisions that you make in game, the quests that you complete, the NFTs that you attach to it, how you go along and develop your land, really creates a unique and individualized experience within the Fables of Fyra, right? And land, NFT land, because we have 3 different levels of land. We have free land, we have premium land, and then we have NFT land. In order to participate in the play to earn and to earn cave on a daily basis through your your proof of play, you do need to have NFT land. Okay. However, players that didn't purchase or can't get their hands on NFT land, whether that be financial constraints or just constraint of supply, will be able to play on free and premium land, build up NFTable items, still develop their skill sets and their experience sets within their dragon, and then craft those items and sell them on a marketplace to others. So that does allow them to require Cave to participate in the economy without having the land. And the upgrade to premium land from free land just really gives you access to additional premium content, like different areas within the kingdom that you wouldn't normally have on the free land, as well as increasing your ability to find the resources and rare items on your land. But then, like I mentioned, NFT land is really where the play to earn side begins. And that is, there are 3 tiers of NFT land in our first kingdom. So we have our gold key land, our silver key land, and then our standard public NFT land. And really, this land, like I said, it what creates and generates the development of Cave into the daily rewards pool, and really allows you access to earn each day. And so gold and silver key plots are extremely limited. There's 1,000 of each of them, and those have they allow your time within the economy to earn a little bit more. So except there's a multiplier put on gold land, a multiplier put on silver land, so they earn a little bit more base shares each day, in comparison to the standard NFT land, as well as having other utility like access to the token sale and early access to the private and pre-sale, as well as kind of giving you some other enhancements in game. So some really good benefit to owning gold key and silver key land.
Very cool options as well for different levels of players. I think that's very cool,
Yeah.
and it gives options there. I've just had a question come in, and it kind of relates to this, so I think I'm going to throw it at you now, and
Okay.
then move into dragons and in-game items. So,
Mhm.
This is a question from Jim Cryptid. Fables of Fyra is meant to be an easy entry into blockchain gaming. Are you custodial of the NFT properties or rewards for your users?
So it'll all be on the blockchain, like, so the assets and whatnot will be on the blockchain. If I understand this question correctly, Ian, asking if it'll be on chain or off chain. So it'll be the land. All the NFTs will be on chain on the Polygon chain initially. So it won't be custodial. There'll be access to it. Now, when we want to hide that infrastructure behind like the play to earn side, that's where the free and premium NFT land is at. So you can still play. You can still participate in the economy at arm's length, right? You can craft items and sell it on the marketplace if you want to. You will have to connect a wallet, purchase Cave, and then pay your minting fees in Cave. But it's not that full interaction of the blockchain. And people can choose not to. If they just want to play, they can just play in the free and premium land.
I think that's a really interesting question, actually. I kind of read it. I think we've understood it the same way. And I read it first and thought, are they asking, will you kind of hide all of the finicky blockchain wallet operations? Have you smoothed it out? But no, I think in reality, the answer is that, you still have to have some level of knowledge of how to use a blockchain wallet, of how to do transactions and basic level things. So I kind of read it like that, but either way, I think you've answered the question really well. You will need some basic knowledge, right? That's kind of the answer there, I think.
Yeah, and Ian, now the other thing too is that we are developing some really comfortable, intuitive user interfaces that, like I said, even our guild management side, where we'll have we're working towards automatic settlement of contracts, like I said, splits on earnings per day, really easy interfaces to rent assets to scholars and divide those out. So we're really trying to make it as seamless and user friendly as possible. But you're right, you do still need to have a little bit of knowledge about the blockchain to participate in the play to earn side, but we'll continue to make that seamless and polish that as much as possible.
Cool. And I think it's, again, just to stick with this question, it's interesting again because the beginning of the question, Fables of Fyra is meant to be an easy entry into blockchain gaming. Mm-hmm. I would remove the word gaming here, and we can have a whole nother question that by learning the basics of a blockchain wallet through gaming, where you've rightly said it's not that complex, it's quite straightforward, then you could build your confidence to go out and interact with other things. I think is more what we've seen trends of gaming leading people into blockchain further rather than the way around, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
And Ian, I think that's a great point because if you look at it, it's a relatively, for a lot of these players that are coming in new to the blockchain, right? It's a relatively low risk engagement, right? You're not buying a Bored Ape, NFT for $1 million and worrying about if you're gonna, send it to the wrong address or if you're going to interact incorrectly and get your NFT stolen, right? Like, this is relatively easier, smaller stake entry into the blockchain space. And you're right, I came in through some of these smaller transactions and really started learning more and just became obsessed with Web3, right? And I think that's why they're calling blockchain gaming the highway to the blockchain, because it is a relatively small, low risk engagement that people can kind of get into and feel comfortable, and if they make a mistake, it's not the end of the world.
It's a couple of bucks, right? And I think it can be, that's exactly bang on. I think it's a really interesting question. You probably didn't imagine it could stem off into 3 questions, but
right.
I think it's super interesting as well. But I think the bottom line here is that at one point in our existence as human beings, we couldn't tie our shoelaces and we couldn't brush our teeth, but we learnt, and because we wanted to and we needed to. I think human beings can throw up barriers to education sometimes and just kind of throw their arms in the air and say, "Oh, I don't get it." But come on, you really can. There's enough education out there, that's for sure, right? And I'm sure that you've actually got a very cool YouTube channel where you do a bunch of, you've got episodes, haven't you? Is that educational content, or is that just kind of around the project?
Yeah, a lot of it is around the project right now, right? So, like, we were showing the development side of it. The development of the game was first phase. Second phase, we still show development of the game, but we're really going through the white paper and making sure that everyone understands the various components. Because, Ian, as I mentioned, one of our biggest things, and Oversized Hat really stressed this when I came on the team, is that we want to have that utmost transparency because we feel that's what really lacks in this space. So, by taking that white paper or that light paper, which can be a somewhat confusing document anytime you're looking at a complex economy. And we broke it into various sections. We kind of walked everybody through it, let everyone ask questions. We got a big AMA coming up on Wednesday where people can now have had like over a week to digest the light paper and can really come back with the questions that they have and kind of trying to understand everything. And then, like I said, our next step is really to start bringing on our advisors and really kind of understanding like what our advisors are bringing to the project and kind of what their take on the space is. So as people are jumping into the project, buying NFTs, getting ready to buy the token and expand with us in the future, they can see the information that we're seeing and why we're making the decision and the strategic decisions that we're implementing to get to the next step.
Transparency is super important, right? And I think in an industry like ours, it's one of the most important things. So,
100%.
yeah, really good questions, man. I've just had another 4 questions fly in. So, let's go backtrack again because we got to NFT land and we went through that really well. But then we've got NFT Dragons and in-game items to talk about quickly, not quickly, properly, and then we'll jump back over to these questions. So, yeah, NFT Dragons. Like, what do these do?
So now NFT Dragons, this is a part that we're really excited about because the NFT Dragons are really the centerpiece of the play to earn side of the game, right? So we've always been built off of these dragons that have been bought and sold as NFTs that have been developed and bred through our Dragon Garden game. So we have, Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 dragons with various rarity, various traits. They all have heritage and background that give them different skills, different traits in game. Now, what we've done is create an out of game earning aspect associated with the dragons. So when you buy a plot of land, a level 1 plot of land, you can assign up to 4 dragons to those plot of lands. One in your player slot, one in like your adult slot, and then you can put 2 in your children's slot, right? And you can put any NFTs in your children's slot. But what they do is we develop a share of, we develop a daily earning based on their lineage, their generation, and their skill set and their position within your land. And that will give you, that's really what triggers your daily earnings. So as you play, the more dragons you have assigned to your land, the more valuable your time inland is. So we've really given a ton of earning utility to the NFT dragons. And as your dragons get rare, as you breed them and hit Gen 2 and Gen 3, and if you can keep a consistent OG bloodline, these offer tremendous amounts of earning potential. Now, as you upgrade your land, you can assign more dragons. So level 5 land, you can assign up to 12 dragons to your land, up to 12 NFT dragons to your land, and that will tremendously increase your earning potential on a day-to-day basis. And so the dragons really become the centerpiece of the game, which has always been the centerpiece of the franchise. And we wanted to ensure that those people that purchased and built and developed dragons in the initial phase of our franchise still had that benefit, that utility. We didn't want to nerf them, and so we, instead of nerfing them, we made them the centerpiece of the economy.
Okay, cool. So I like that expression, nerf them. Cool. So they're the centerpiece. They are absolutely critical to earning potential and how you kind of progress through the game as well.
Right,
Okay,
and
cool.
Ian, we're giving away a Gen 1 York, and she's awesome. I have some favorites, like I said, if I've looked at the dragons or behind the dragons, Zork ranks up there with, for me as well as Blue. So I'm super stoked about giving one of those away.
All right, cool. So yeah, just to repeat that at the beginning, we said so for asking questions today, we've got it's one, right? It's one of the 999.
Correct.
Yeah, right. So one of those will go out to a lucky winner today. So Dino's favorite dragon, like it's got to be a good one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So NFT in-game items, and here we're talking about items that have been crafted, I presume.
Well, there's
And
actually, so this is what makes our economy really really interesting, is that there's a lot of strategy that goes behind it. So we have three different styles of NFTs that can be purchased and utilized, right? So we have your in-game items, and we consider those efficiency NFTs, right? So these are those like in-game resources you need to make some really high level items as you get to like Grandmaster and some of the other higher experience levels in the experience trees. You'll need some of these very rare assets and resources to make items, right? And you can also, if you don't have that Grandmaster level, you may need to buy an NFT of a specific axe. For example, the Forest of Blarg has some very, very stubborn trees that don't like to be chopped down, and you'd burn through a ton of axes. It would take you a lot of time to craft those axes. Or if you're not a master smith, you can go on to the marketplace, or you can interact with the cave dragons, and you can purchase NFTs that like a specific axe that allows you to cut through those trees, or a specific seed that grows a fruit that you need for a recipe that would get you into a grandmaster for roasting, right? So those are those in-game items, those efficiency NFTs. We have tutors that will help you increase your experience gain in a shorter period of time, so you can level up the experience of your dragon. So those are all in-game items, efficiency NFTs. Now, the next category are land enhancement NFTs. And as I mentioned, remember the land is really the centerpiece of how you really unlocks your ability to participate in the play to earn economy, and that's where you assign your dragons. Well, amongst assigning dragons to your property or to your land, you can also assign land enhancement NFTs. And so these NFTs, they're classified based on rarity and effectivity length. So some of them could last 24 hours, some of them could last a week, others last a month, and some of them, longer than a month, right? The really rare ones. And those will increase your ability to earn shares on a daily basis. So, for example, you may have a land enhancement NFT that you want to apply to one of your plots of land that doubles your shares for 24 hours. So for 24 hours, you get double the shares or double the earnings off that property of land. And so those are land enhancement NFTs. And like I said, we've got 5 classes, and they're based on their rarity and effectivity length. Then the last kind of category of NFTs are your novelty NFTs. And this is really, for me, they don't have specific in-game or land enhancement benefits, but really what these do is allow you to individualize your property, allow you to individualize your kingdom, individualize, your dragons. You can skin them with, I think in the deck we have a Dragaroo wearing like a little outfit, and so these are things that really allow you to kind of express yourself in game, which I think is cool, right? Because not everything has to be so serious about, I've got to maximize my earnings or I've got to get through this quest faster. We also want to have fun, and I think that these novelty NFTs, for example, flowers and stuff inside your cave and some of the other stuff, really allow you to do that.
I've got to say, Dino, that kind of stuff for me is really vital. Like I think it can be overlooked again, and those aesthetic touches, personalization. That's what people are all about, right? That's what they want. They want to have something unique, to be a little bit special in that way. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you've got those kind of items. I think I'm predicting you'll find them to be uber important actually over the time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Definitely, man. All right, cool. I've got 4 questions. Dino, we're going to run over by about 10 minutes. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, go ahead. This is my this is what I'm doing.
I got days, man. I got days. All right, cool. I got 4 more questions. Okay, so this person is asking about the advertising of the game. They are saying, So at the beginning of a game, there's a lot of advertising, a lot of people, an effort to push people into the product and keep them there, basically. This person is asking, do you have sort of long-term plans to continue with that onboarding and retention?
Absolutely. So that's actually one of the things that really attracted me to the franchise when I came on board in January was the hiring of Heidi, who oversees our entire marketing plan, our entire marketing strategy. So, like I said, her background, she did stuff for PlayStation, Rick and Morty, you name it. These long-standing, really well-established franchises, and so not only does she know how to on-ramp and bring people to the game, she knows how to ensure that we remain relevant as we continue to grow and continue to run through the life cycle of the ecosystem of the overall game. And so that's a big thing. And so I've looked at, and in the white paper, you can see Heidi's entire marketing plan, the market research that she's done to support her marketing plan and the tactics she plans to implement as we go forward. However, the other thing that really is kind of the second angle of that two-sided, approach to continuing marketing and growth is also our continuous releases of content, additional games, etc. Because she can only do so much if we don't continue to be dynamic and continue to generate growth and expansion on the ecosystem. And already having the roadmap and that lore built out for like I said, 5 years, she's going to have plenty of content and releases to work with to ensure that we remain relevant and continue to grow.
Really strong point, Dino. Like, players bring players, right? You see a big queue outside a nightclub, you think something cool's happening inside. So as more people hop in, right? So it's a kind of compounding situation, I guess. Good question.
Ian, me being like 40, I see a long line in front of a nightclub. I go to the bar next door and grab a pint.
Turn your head the other way. I'm not gonna lie, that's me too, man. I might look at the queue and think, oh, 10 years ago I would have been in that queue.
Yeah, exactly.
But now I'm on my way home to clean up baby poo. Okay, so next question. Aside playing on mobile and PC, are there other platforms, possibly consoles, where the games will be played?
So right now Awakening is PC, right? Like PC, Mac, desktop. We're working on like the free and the premium version being on Apple Play and Google. I know that they're still working through some of that stuff. Right now, I can't speak to anything on the console side. That'd be something that the dev team would have to kind of respond to. But I know right now we're just kind of your standard PC and mobile.
Interesting. It's a question we get almost every time we have a game project on, that will the game be available on console? And it's like users' desire to jump over blockchain and just go straight in on a game console, right? Which also goes back to that question from earlier. Interesting. It's just occurred to me that question pops every time we have a game.
Well, I think a lot of it is going to depend on if the consoles are going to allow themselves to be like an open source kind of programming, so that way you can develop games for them. I think that's the future. I mean, to be totally honest with you, allowing where Fables of Fyra, the franchise, just basically becomes like an incubator for the community to develop and expand on the ecosystem and to code. But and I know that's Splinterland's approach as well. So it's interesting.
Makes sense to me, right? But you're right in that way that. And one thing that occurs to me is when you start decentralizing and giving out sort of roles to regular people, you are losing your monopoly on a market. Yep. So there's many things to consider there. I mean, my personal opinion on this is that a lot of people ask the question, do you think PlayStation will launch blockchain games? I kind of feel like there'll be another company involved that will pop up and cater to it specifically. Like you say, an open source console, like a Raspberry Pi type thing, it's... got years to find out what's going to happen. I'll be amazed if it didn't, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next question from Peckham CPNK Rebelbots. Mm-hmm. Will the assets we mint have different scarcity, or will they be single item production and be the same dragon for everyone? I.e., will they be epic, legendary, common, with different stats on farming or other uses? I think we touched on this earlier, but quite specific question there.
Yeah, so there'll be so each dragon will have they'll have their own rarity, right? For example, Zork, there's 999 of them. I think blue there might only be 100, maybe even less than that. I'd have to check with the oversized hat. So there'll be rarity built in with them. But then where the rarity really and the kind of the scarcity, digital scarcity develops is when you start breeding dragons as well. So when you come out with Gen 2 dragons and let's say you have a full bloodline that is OG dragons, an OG an OG male and an OG female, and that OG bloodline continues through, that's going to have a ton of rarity and a ton of value. So it's really looking at that. And now the stats, that's also check the light paper out because it goes in depth. But there's heritage traits as well as attributes that are assigned to the dragons based on kind of who they are, where they're from, if they have a strength trait or a perceptive trait, etc. And as you breed, those traits get mingled, and so that creates some really unique dragons as well.
Okay, cool. So you've got like different bloodlines, and then you can mix those bloodlines to create different gene pools as well. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. One more question from VCDP. Really good questions today from the audience. Thank you, guys. Really cool. Are there going to be burning mechanism for both tokens? I mean, there are upgrades, but do you think it is enough to maintain the supply of both tokens?
So
Large number of players means large mints.
So BA tokens will never be burnt. They will only be minted once. So we mint the BA token at the release, the full amount, and you can read that in the light paper. Those will not have a burning mechanism. Cave does have burning mechanisms throughout the game. So if you read through the light paper, for example, a portion of the fee when you mint will be burned and a portion will go to the treasury, right? When you upgrade your land, the land upgrade fee that's paid in Cave, a portion of that is burnt and then the other portion returns to the treasury. And there are also how the Cave is minted is based on circulating land. And so we will, like right now, there's 1,000 circulating land. It kicks off a certain percentage of Cave each day, which goes into the daily allocations pool, which is then distributed to the players based on the shares that they mine, right? So we control the amount of Cave that's being introduced into the economy based on the amount of land that's sold. And so that was a question that came up in our Discord earlier today was that, hey, how are we going to, really control the amount of Cave that's created when growth happens or when growth slows down? And a lot of that is through the land and through the land multiplier. So for example, like if each land kicks off 20 Cave per day, but in the beginning, because we need to develop liquidity and whatnot, we have like a 10 times or a 4 times multiplier on that. That can be adjusted as well to ensure that supply of Cave doesn't exceed what is required or demanded, because we've seen what that does to an economy. Like we saw what happened to SLP. We've seen what's happened to some of these others where it just creates massive inflation, and we've worked with our advisors and our experts to develop some of these levers that really ensure that token will maintain its value, and burning is a huge portion of that.
All right, nice. Good question. Very good question, I think, there about that. And I think it's a critical area for sort of critique, as it were, right now. People are asking these questions and answered very well, Dino. So good work there. All right, we're going to draw it in. And I know there's a couple of things that you really want to talk about today. So we've got an upcoming land sale. Mm-hmm. And also, little birdie tells me you've got a private sale of BA token happening. So let's, you tell everybody about these, Dino.
Yeah, so in the coming months, so starting this month and actually tomorrow starts the gold key, or so we have our silver key land sale. Our silver key land sale is a very limited set of land plots. There's 1,000 of them. What that will give you is some extended benefit, right? So not only will your land earn, instead of where public NFT land will earn 1 share per day, of the daily rewards allocation, Silver Key land will earn 1.15 shares. I think it is. I'll have to check the light paper. So it allows your time within the land or within the system to be worth more, right? So it's very beneficial, very rare. It also will give you access to the pre-sale for the BA token, which is coming up here, pretty soon in the next month and a half, next couple of months. And so they'll provide that. It'll also give you access to the monthly rewards, BA rewards pool. So Gold and Silver Key landholders will be the only landholders that will earn share of the BA rewards pool on a monthly basis. So that will continue to return value over the lifetime, as well as earning more cave on a daily basis. So if you're a guild manager, it's going to have a ton of value to those that, to when you want to rent out your land to scholars, because they're going to earn more shares on a daily basis. And then also it has the benefit of giving you early access to our token sale, which is huge.
Pretty cool, right? Okay, nice. And I am also presuming that all this, the tokenomic information you will find in the light paper, correct?
Yep.
If people want to dive deeper, yep. And then also, obviously, these guys have a Discord, they have Twitter, and I am sure they'll be more than happy to answer all your questions around these issues that you see. So, Dino, I'm going to draw it to a close there. We're 10 minutes over, but it's been a great session. I want to thank you for answering all the questions from the audience and myself and doing a great job articulating your answers really well so that people understand what's going on here with this project. And then one final question, my man. Where do you see Fables of Fyra in 1 year's time?
Realistically, I'm biased here, but I see us being one of the premier play to earn games in the space, primarily based on the dynamic and the niche that we're approaching and how well established our economy is, as well as our underlying community. I think all the newcomers that are coming into our Discord, that are coming into the community, will see that we have just this great foundation to build off of, and we're building something really special here.
Nice, man. Good answer, good answer. So top 10 game, 1 year's time. We'll meet again. We'll have a look. No?
Sounds good.
That's good to me, man. Okay, cool. Dino, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to the audience for tuning in, and really thank you for your questions. Really good questions today.
Yeah.
The prize will be distributed afterwards. We will decide which question was the best one, and we'll get that information over to Dino, who will then sort that out at the other end. So all good there. So once again, thanks for your time, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Dino, thank you. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Is there anything else you want to shout out before we wrap up? Any social handles, anything else?
No, I mean, our social handles are out there. I just want to say thank you, Ian. This was tremendous. Everyone that showed up and asked questions, thank you so much. I mean, like I said, these were some great questions, some great interaction, and you got a great show, Ian. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You're a good guest to have. All right, cool. Let's wrap this thing up then. It is, we're running over, but I don't care today. I'm going to highlight the show on Thursday as well. So on Thursday over here on Discord, we've got another AMA, this time with our team, our internal team, Modesto, Pedro, or it could be Boris as well this week. I'm not sure. They're going to be talking about domain names, specifically blockchain domain names, and zooming in on this new 4-digit ENS collection, which, if you know anything about it, 10K Club, pretty crazy stuff, right? 4 digits, a lot of money. They're going to be talking about that. Tune in, find out everything. 3 p.m. UTC here on Discord. Dino, again, thank you, my man. And thank you to everyone that tuned in. I will see y'all next week.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you.